guys, it's been a hot minute since I made a video. I got a lot of questions from people in terms of how do I actually clean the chassis properly, because I feel like I to some degree covered it, but maybe not so much in depth in terms of like exactly where are like these places that you should really look out for, and make sure that you clean them, flush them out from all the sand and all that stuff. So this video is dedicated to that. So I'll just be going over the chassis. It's been 2 weeks since I went up the beach up at Double Arm, and I feel like 2 weeks is a good time frame for me to do a second clean. You can do it after a week, really. You can do it 3 days after, it doesn't really matter. But this is the time I have time to do it today. It's nice weather, so yeah, let's get into it. So as I showed you guys in the previous, whoops. Well, that went rolling away. Anyways, we got the sprinkler. So I normally put the sprinkler under the car just to flush some sand that I might not be able to reach with the high pressure hose. So there you go, put that down, get the garden hose out. And this is the tricky part, and I'm not going to try and do this with one hand, so I'm gonna put you guys down. Okay, fast forward 2 minutes, and I've put the sprinkler underneath the car at the front. I'll start there, let it sort of work its way back and forth a couple of times, and then what I do is just pull it back every time until I get to the back and feel like I've covered all the areas. Just about done now with the sprinkler. Just going to push it a little bit further back just so we cover that last section. There we go. And the next tool that I'm going to show you is the it's from Osito. Just can't remember the exact name for it, but I'll put it in the description. And this is a genius tool when you need to get into those small holes around your chassis. So this is where a lot of people sort of overlook when it comes to cleaning, but it's like the most important things you have to do with your chassis, because you'll see in here you have heaps of small holes, and if you don't clean that out and the sand and the salt sort of puts itself and lays at the bottom of the chassis, and you never actually flush that out, that's when your chassis is going to corrode and it's going to cause a lot of troubles. And just going to turn this off. Unfortunately, an example of that is what we saw with Dre's Hilux. So when we bought this one, it looked nice, fine and everything. Luckily we didn't pay too much for it, but we realized that the chassis had corroded inside, so we had to do a full-on chassis repair on it. And I promise you, it's not a fun thing to pay for, especially when it just basically comes down to someone owning the car and being lazy and not properly, I guess, educating themselves on how to clean your car after you go up the beach. Because it's such an important thing of driving these four-wheel drive vehicles, and especially keeping them safe as well. It's you definitely don't want your chassis to break on you if you don't take care of it over the years. So what I'm going to do now, so I'm going to connect the Osito cleaning tool that I just showed you, and I'm going to go through. I've got a little guest here. Hello.
What was that about my Hilux?
Yeah. I told him about your unfortunate incidents with your chassis.
Oh,
and,
God.
Yeah, okay. He doesn't want to talk about that, but anyways. But I'll turn the garden hose again. Do yourself a favor and just turn it on and off, because like you don't want to clean yourself in the process. So, but yeah, here you go. So it works. And I normally start from the front. It's usually always start from the front, just make that a habit. And then when you go into here, you're going to see a lot of holes. Like this is, for example, one here. The chassis has a range of holes underneath, which can be really annoying to get to. And this is where it sort of becomes a bit of that tedious, annoying thing to do, because you can see here, you've got heaps of holes, right? Put this in, you just see how all of that sand would come out. Obviously it's not that much right now because I did this 2 weeks ago. But this is often where it will just sort of store itself and corrode your chassis from the inside, and it's just not something you want. So I keep on holding it in here for a while, just switching in between the holes, making sure that it drains out. You can see underneath that, I don't even know what you call this thing, brace arm or whatever, but it has a couple of holes under here. It's you can actually see some sand coming out there, so it's good that I'm doing this. And like in terms of doing this process, my recommendation is that you do it every time you go up the beach. And then some people might be thinking, oh, it's such a waste of time, blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, like it totally comes down to how much you want to take care of your car. And like maybe I'm too much on about this. This is really uncomfortable. But like I invested in this car, and it's like, for me, it's like something I want to keep for a long time. And if I end up selling it, I want to, you know, be like, hey, I've actually taken really good care of this car and cleaned it and all that stuff. So I just like taking care of these types of things that I spend a lot of money on. But some people are like, you know, screw that. But, I mean, that's up to each individual, what they choose to do with their car. But yeah, I 100% just recommend spending a little bit of time on doing this at least. It'll just save you money down the track. So there's heaps of holes under here, as you can see. Like, so we got some, and you can see here, look at that. Isn't that great? Wash that out. I feel like I'm also getting a bit wet in the process, but that's okay. In here as well, in this little cockpit thing here. So I'll only show you the right side of the car because it's basically the same as the left side. In terms of the holes, you just have to sort of crawl a little bit underneath and look for those holes. There's another one over here, in here, all the way in the back there. You can see it's all dripping out there, which is good. And if you have a look at that puddle over there, that's all sand that came out of the front. And that's the type of stuff that you just want to get rid of, because if that keeps on storing in there, as I say, no good, no good. Okay. Getting up to that wheel arch here. And we got a couple of places under here. Let me see. Go on here. There. There we go. Oh yeah, there's sand coming out. Look at that. And like, when you start taking your car up the beach, like I promise you, it's not going to be a time that you clean your car and you're not going to see sand. It's always going to be sand coming off. But you know, if it's only sand and it's not actually salt mixed with sand, I mean, then you're saving yourself a shit ton of money down the track, I think, because it's the sand, it's the salt that kills it. Like, the sand is obviously annoying, but it's more that it's just that salt that you just really want to get off the car. And then you can see here a little puddle of sand. I'm gonna go and do the right side as well. I'll probably place the camera from here so you can have a look what's going on. And also Have a look at that really sexy custom off-road bash plate. I got it color coded in the same color as the Sandy Jimny, and it's, yeah, it just looks so good. Like, have a look at that. Yeah, make sure you go and check them out, because they provide some really good products for the gym. Okay, let's go and clean this, get this sand off. Okay, so a little bit wet, but it's fine. So I've gone through the whole car now with that Osito tool, and you know, I think I got a lot of sand off, just like some stuff there. But as you can see here in the front, it's actually a fair bit of sand that came out. So I was a bit, you know, not surprised, but that just shows that you know, it's quite important to do this, because if you just leave it, it's just gonna stack up. And yeah, you know what we think about that. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna wait for it to dry, and then I'm going to use this chassis shield from 4-Wheel Drive Detail. And these guys are amazing because they actually give you a 10% discount with my code ExploreJimny, and these are products I use every time I clean the car after the beach, going up inland, going off-roading. The chassis shield is something you apply after the chassis has dried, so I'll just let it stand out here and dry for an hour or two, and once it's dry enough, you spray it on, let it sit for, I normally let it sit for about an hour or two, and then you just lightly rinse it off after. And make sure that you do it at least 24 hours before you hit the beach, but it basically just puts that extra layer of protection on your chassis in addition to your rust proofing. So if you first haven't done rust proofing, make sure you do that if you're going to go up the beach. Essential thing that I did first when I got the Jimny. But yeah, make sure that you look into these products because they're pretty good. I'm very happy with them. Cool. A common question that I do get a lot is, do I need to rust proof my Jimny? Like, I'm only going to go up the beach like once every half year or whatever. And I think it's the thing with rust proofing, this is obviously my opinion, what I've learned, but in terms of rust proofing, like, it's really protecting your car, especially if you're like shit at cleaning your vehicle. Like, you're protected from salt and rust and corrosion and all that stuff, which is great. And I think if you clean your vehicle really well and you're really good at making sure that you clean it into all these holes that I showed you and stuff, I think, you know, your vehicle will last longer anyways than a person who decides to rust proof it but decides to take care of it like Dre's Hilux. Like, I think it all comes down to the whole package of things. I've decided to rust proof mine because, like, I want to make sure that the chassis and everything just has a long life, basically. But I also know that I do clean it well, so I think that's a plus in itself. But if you like not really living close to the beach, or you don't feel like going up the beach that much and stuff, like, you don't need to get it, but make sure that you also clean your car enough, and, you know, make sure that you do clean it well and in these nooks and crannies and all that stuff. But sort of that's how I look at it, like, and I do a top up as well every year. But when I went to them now, so this is DT Rust Proofing in Maroochydore, they're awesome. Like, they also gave me actually that Osito tool that I clean my chassis with, which is awesome. So I definitely recommend hitting them up if you live in this area. But yeah, he looked over my car and just did a little bit of top up and said, like, it's perfect, like, everything's fine, like, there's no rust building up or anything, which is also a good thing. I think it's a really good thing to do, because you go and get a top up, you make sure that someone's looking over your chassis year to year, and that only cost me like $70 or something, 60-70 bucks to do that. And I feel like that is worth it down the track, instead of going and getting your chassis repaired in 6 years from now because you just couldn't be bothered cleaning it, didn't get rust proofing, and yeah, you have to spend like 3-4, God knows how much you have to spend on fixing it. So yeah, that's just my, I guess, look on it. I think if you're gonna like use it a little bit up the beach, I think it's worth it. Like if you want to have this car for a while, then definitely do it. And I also think it's a good thing if you are looking at having it for a couple of years and then sell it on. Like personally, I hate selling things to people that I know don't work well. Like some people are like, oh, whatever, like that's their problem. I don't personally think like that. I think it's like a shitty thing to do. So I want to make sure that if I do sell this car in like 5 years from now, God hope I don't, but anyways, I want to make sure that it's fine and that I've taken care of it, and I can maybe like I spend a little bit more money on it then, but at least I save maybe someone having to fix like a rusty chassis and already spent money on buying the car. But yeah, you get the gist. So it's basically like, yeah, it comes down to your use, how well you're going to take care of it, and so on. The other question I get, which is not really much relevant to cleaning, is like, how does it work up double island and stuff? And like, I'm like surprised when I first took this car up double island, because I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna get stuck, like I'm gonna get it into the cutting and it's gonna get stuck and like I don't know what to do and all that stuff. And then I drove it on the beach and I was like, dude, this is easier than driving that. You know what I'm looking at. But anyways, like it floats on the sand and it's so easy. And I drove it with I had a lift then, but I had just a stock tires. Everything else was basically stock, and it just floats on the sand. Like it goes so well. But I do pull the fuse out in the front to disable that traction control thing, because that just annoyed me so much when I took it to Fraser and I had to drive through incoming tide and stuff, hitting soft sand, you know, the stuff. So I do take that out when I drive up the beach, which the crash control and all that stuff, it's not working when you do it. But for me, it's worth it because I can keep up with convoys, and if I hit soft sand, it doesn't go like full on brake mode. But other than that, you know, I think the traction control is an annoying part with this car. I'm gonna be honest, like that's something I would be like, why did you do this? But anything else with it, I really love it. Like it's tiny, like it's what I want to use it for. Going up the beach, like just spending a day up there, coming back, cleaning it, takes way less time. If you're going to travel around Australia with it, I would personally probably get like a small camper trailer, like a tiny one, and just have all the stuff in there and things like that. But going up like these day trips and Fraser and stuff, like no problem. Like I've done it 3 times now, and every time's just such a fun time because everyone also looks at your vehicle like it's this type of spaceship. And they're like, whoa, can that actually go up Nagala Rocks? And I'm like, yeah, it probably goes better than your car. Like, it just does everything so with an ease. So that's really what I love about it. And I thought I'd just mention that because a lot of people are like, obviously worried when they get a 4-wheel drive and they're not familiar with it. And I get it because I was there too. Like, you get a new car and you're like, what's it capable for, right? So yeah, I thought I'd just cover that, and we'll get back to the chassis once it's dry. Okay, so I've now waited about 2 hours, and I'm gonna now go over with the chassis shield. I'm even struggling to say it. Let me see. Let's see if it's pumping here. Yep, it's coming out. There you go. So I'll, you know, start at the front and just sort of spray it on the chassis in particular. Like here, it gets really shiny. Try and stay away from anything else that's not the chassis really, but anything that's like the metal stuff that could easily like corrode, that's what I try to aim for. So we'll go here. Just give it like a gentle spray. It smells a little bit, so you'll probably notice that when you drive first, if like it heats up a little bit and you like miss and I don't know, spray your exhaust or something, you might smell a little bit, but it does go away. So but yeah, I normally try and do this as much as I can. Like it's not something you do every time you clean it, but I try to do it, sort of But yeah, that's basically how I go over it. You can notice it's dripping, but it's like makes it super shiny, which is nice. Oh, then go in here. Sorry if my filming is really shit. I'm like trying to do this and film at the same time. And your hand gets really tired from doing this. So I'm gonna switch hands because this is tiring. And onto the back. So you got the chassis up here. So this is where you normally maybe end up missing and like spraying your exhaust. What is it? Moving on to the other side, just giving it a good spray. Try to cover as much as you can. This is all the sand I got out of that. I'm trying to do this as thoroughly as I can, but there we go. My hand is not. So he did actually, I think they did actually come out with another product. Don't quote me on this, I have to go and have a look again. But it like makes it easier for you to pump, because it can get a bit tiring like having to pump the bottle all the time. But there is another product for it, which makes it super easy. See if you can go to his website at full detail, I think it's .com.au, and check out those products. That's the process of this one. And then once it's been on for an hour or so, just rinse it off lightly with the hose, and you're done. And that's basically the process, and I thought it would be a good idea to show you guys this because I do get a lot of questions about it. Hello. He's now going to take my car to go shopping, but I'll see you guys in the next video, and if you have any comments, just leave them in the comment section below, or reach out to me via Instagram, because I'm always happy to answer questions there. But yeah, see you in the next video.